In Japan, people apologize when their train arrives 10 seconds late. In America, people eat burritos while driving 70 miles per hour on the freeway and call it lunch. And that gap between cultures, it is not small. It is a canyon. Because what feels perfectly normal to Americans can genuinely shock, confuse, and sometimes flat out disgust people from Japan. And once you see everyday American habits through Japanese eyes, you will never look at them the same way again. The first thing that hits most Japanese visitors is not the food or the noise. It is the shoes. Americans wear shoes inside their homes like it is the most natural thing in the world. Sneakers on the couch, boots on the carpet, heels clicking across hardwood floors that someone supposedly just cleaned. For Japanese people, this is not just odd. It is almost physically uncomfortable to witness. In Japan, removing your shoes at the entrance is not a preference. It is a deeply rooted practice tied to cleanliness and respect, and the idea that the inside of a home is a completely separate space from the outside world. There are even designated slippers for different rooms. Walking through an American living room in the same shoes that just crossed a parking lot feels, to many Japanese visitors, like dragging the entire street into someone's personal sanctuary. And the internet has had a field day with it. Clips of Americans lounging on beds with shoes on have racked up millions of views in Japan, with comment sections full of genuine disbelief. But the shoes are only the beginning, because the moment Japanese visitors step outside and experience how Americans behave in public spaces, a whole new wave of culture shock rolls in. One of the biggest differences is volume. Americans are loud, not just in bars or stadiums, but everywhere. In restaurants, trains, grocery stores, and on sidewalks, conversations happen at a level that in Japan would be reserved for emergencies. When a group of Americans laughs across an entire restaurant or shouts into a phone on a quiet street, it can register as almost aggressive to Japanese sensibilities. Japanese culture places enormous value on being considerate in shared spaces. People speak softly in public, keep phone calls brief or silent on transit, and try not to disrupt anyone else's peace. It is not that Americans are trying to be rude. It is that the baseline for acceptable public volume simply sits in two completely different places. And it does not stop at noise. The way Americans eat in public raises eyebrows too. Picture walking down the street with a slice of pizza, sipping coffee on the go, snacking on a bag of chips while browsing a store. In America, eating on the move is so common it barely registers as a choice. In Japan, eating while walking is widely considered messy and inconsiderate. Food is meant to be enjoyed sitting down, ideally with focus and appreciation. The idea of cramming a hot dog into your mouth while dodging pedestrians feels chaotic to someone raised on the principle that meals deserve a moment of stillness. Even convenience store food in Japan is typically eaten at a small counter inside the shop or taken home, not unwrapped mid-stride. Then there is the physical contact. Americans hug a lot. They hug friends, co-workers, people they just met at a barbecue 20 minutes ago. For Japanese people, who generally greet others with a bow and maintain a respectful physical distance, this level of casual touching can feel startling. And it goes beyond hugs. Back slaps, arm grabs, shoulder squeezes, all delivered with warmth, but received with wide eyes by visitors who are not expecting a stranger to suddenly pull them into an embrace. Public displays of affection amplify this even further. Couples kissing on park benches, holding hands aggressively through crowded malls, or cuddling on subway seats can leave Japanese onlookers genuinely unsure of where to look. In Japan, romantic affection in public is kept subtle, almost invisible. The American version feels, to many, like watching someone's private life broadcast in high definition on the sidewalk. These social differences are striking enough on their own. But when Japanese visitors sit down for an American meal, the real shock begins. A single plate of food at an American restaurant can look like it was designed to feed a small family. Mountains of fries, steaks hanging off the edges of plates, pasta bowls deep enough to swim in. Japanese portions are carefully measured, beautifully presented, and built around balance. American portions are built around the philosophy that more is always better. For visitors used to modest, artful servings, the sheer volume of food can feel almost wasteful, especially when half of it ends up in a styrofoam box that may or may not actually get eaten later. And then there is the tipping. In Japan, tipping does not exist. Service workers take pride in doing their job well because that is the standard, not because a financial reward is dangling at the end. In America, tipping is practically mandatory. Skip it and you have committed a social crime. The entire system baffles Japanese visitors. Why is the customer responsible for completing someone's salary? Why does the amount change based on the meal? Why does everyone seem stressed about math at the end of dinner? Online, Japanese travelers frequently describe American tipping culture as one of the most confusing parts of visiting the country, a system that somehow makes eating out feel like a pop quiz. The food itself brings surprises too. Americans eat with their hands far more than Japanese people expect. Burgers, wings, ribs, pizza, tacos, all grabbed and eaten without utensils. In Japan, even foods that seem casual are often eaten with chopsticks or handled with wrappers and napkins to avoid direct contact. Watching someone tear into a rack of ribs with bare hands and sauce-covered fingers can look almost primal to someone raised on the precision of chopstick etiquette. And the drinks don't escape scrutiny either. Americans fill every glass to the brim with ice, even in winter. Japanese visitors often wonder how anyone actually tastes the beverage underneath what amounts to a cup of frozen water. In Japan, drinks are served at the temperature they are meant to be enjoyed. Cold, yes, but not buried under an avalanche of ice cubes that dilute everything within minutes. The dining culture is a jolt, but daily habits and hygiene differences push the contrast even further. Blowing your nose in public is one of those things Americans barely think about. A tissue comes out, the nose gets blown, and life moves on. In Japan, this is considered genuinely gross. If you need to blow your nose, you excuse yourself and handle it privately, away from other people. Sitting across from someone at lunch while they honk into a napkin is the kind of moment that makes Japanese visitors internally crumble. Sniffling, oddly enough, is far more acceptable in Japan than blowing. It is the exact opposite of American norms. Bathroom culture also collides. Japanese toilets are famous for a reason. Heated seats, built-in bidets, sound machines to mask noise, and control panels that look like they could launch a spacecraft. American bathrooms, by comparison, can feel shockingly primitive. The gaps in public restroom stall doors alone are enough to horrify Japanese visitors. Those wide, inexplicable gaps between the door and the frame let you make accidental eye contact with strangers. In Japan, restroom stalls are sealed, private, and designed to make you forget anyone else exists. American stalls seem designed to do the opposite. And then there is the bathing. Americans shower. Japanese people bathe. It sounds like the same thing, but the process is completely different. In Japan, you wash and rinse your body thoroughly before entering the bath. The tub is for soaking in clean water, not for sitting in your own filth. The American habit of climbing into a bathtub to wash feels fundamentally backwards to Japanese sensibilities. Sharing bath water is common in Japanese households, which only works because everyone enters the tub already clean. The whole system is built on an order that Americans often skip entirely. These personal habits reveal deep cultural wiring. But the differences go beyond hygiene and etiquette into how the two countries think about community, responsibility, and public life. Trash is a perfect example. In Japan, waste separation is practically a civic religion. There are detailed categories, specific collection days, and a shared understanding that handling your garbage properly is your duty as a member of society. In many American cities, everything goes into one bin, maybe two if recycling is available. Japanese visitors see overflowing public trash cans, litter on sidewalks, and single-stream waste systems, and wonder how an entire country can function without sorting its garbage. The casualness of it registers not just as messy, but as a kind of collective indifference that is hard to understand. Punctuality follows a similar divide. Japanese trains are famous for running on time, down to the second. Delays are met with public apologies. American public transit, meanwhile, operates on what can generously be called a flexible schedule. Buses often arrive when they feel like it. Subway delays are met with shrugs. And being 10 minutes late to a meeting barely raises an eyebrow. For Japanese people who view punctuality as a basic form of respect, American timekeeping can feel almost disrespectful in its looseness. The way Americans handle service interactions adds another layer. Casual small talk with cashiers, first-name greetings from waiters, and strangers asking, "How are you doing today?" are all common, even though the question requires no honest answer. In Japan, service is precise, polite, and boundaried. The American version feels performative to many Japanese visitors, a strange dance of forced familiarity that no one actually means, but everyone participates in anyway. Even the way Americans dress seems careless by Japanese standards. Pajama pants at the grocery store, flip-flops at restaurants, sweatpants on airplanes. Japanese culture places real value on presenting yourself well in public, even for mundane errands. The American willingness to leave the house looking like you just rolled out of bed strikes many Japanese visitors as a small surrender, a signal that appearance simply does not carry the same weight. And then there is the one that ties everything together, something so fundamental it colors every other difference on this list. It is the American emphasis on the individual over the group. American culture celebrates standing out, speaking up, and putting personal freedom above collective harmony. Japanese culture prioritizes the group, values reading the room, and operates on the understanding that your comfort should not come at the expense of everyone else's. Neither approach is wrong, but when you place them side by side, nearly every disgusting or confusing American habit suddenly makes sense. The loudness, the mess, the casual attitude toward shared spaces, it all traces back to a culture where personal expression comes first, and the group adjusts around it. For Japanese people who are raised to adjust themselves around the group, it can feel like the entire system is running on inverted logic. And there you have it. 20 American habits that feel perfectly normal on one side of the Pacific and completely unthinkable on the other. From shoes on carpet to toilet stall gaps wide enough to wave through, these everyday differences reveal just how deeply culture shapes what we consider acceptable. If you found this fascinating, Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the habits that make each culture truly one of a kind.